We've got more journalists than any other news organization in the state, and there's no place they won't go to get the story. So hold on tight. Here's the story behind the story. When most people get to the top of a cliff, they stop and admire the view. But then there's these guys. When they see a cliff, a bridge, or you name it, as long as it's tall, all they want to do is jump off it. And we're there every step of the way for their heart-stopping adventure in the Tonto National Forest. Now, let's meet the team who will take you on this wild ride.
Kevin Kennedy, reporter, multimedia journalist.
Lynn French, photojournalist, multimedia journalist.
David Wallace, Arizona Republic staff photographer and multimedia photojournalist.
You're about to see one of AZ Central's most watched videos. And here's what it looked like when it was first aired on 12 News.
You ready? Yep. All right. In 3, 2, 1, see ya.
Wait. Go back. Before we show you two guys jumping off a mountain, you need to meet them. 32-year-old Matt Froelich is an entrepreneur, a helicopter pilot who's had more than 1,200 base jumps. 26-year-old Scotty Morgan is a former Marine. He did 2 tours in Iraq and has more than 600 jumps.
So it's not one of those things where we just, walk up to a cliff somewhere and just, bomb off and hope for the best.
While the jump is the rush, almost like icing on a delicious, albeit jagged cake, there are several ingredients that make this happen.
Before I ever actually make a jump, I'm thinking about what I'm going to do in every possible scenario.
Their playground on this day, one of Arizona's natural cathedrals. Massive red and orange cliffs pierce the sky, both intimidating and inspiring.
Probably my favorite cliff in the entire valley, and it's just one of the most beautiful places I've ever been.
Nerves of steel in this sport are essential. Embracing nature, a benefit. It's a 1-mile hike to the jump zone, to a spot in this oasis that very few people know about. A secret spot that involves climbs and jumps and a bird's eye look at what lies ahead.
Normally on the hike out, I'm kind of looking at the winds.
For Matt and Scotty, it's all part of this high adrenaline, high stress, extreme sport. Their sport.
Just a different way to experience, nature. I mean, look at where we're at right now. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. We get to go to places that people don't normally get to see.
Today they're jumping in the Tonto National Forest, just east of Canyon Lake, off a cliff they call Afternoon Delight.
This jump still scares me a bit.
From the talus on top, where they almost teeter on the edge, to the seemingly postage stamp of a landing zone down below. It's 450 feet, jagged rocks on all sides.
You're running off and you're terrified, and you're so scared that you can't think. You need to kind of be able to put that aside and really focus on what you're doing.
Matt and Scotty take one last look over the edge, one last check on the wind.
I'm throwing small pebbles off.
It's almost game time. 10
to 15 seconds, so stand by.
As Matt prepares, so do we. 5 cameras will capture almost every angle of these jumps. One camera will be dangling 20 feet over the edge.
I deployed about 200 feet of rope.
In the hands of Arizona Republic photographer David Wallace.
Hanging over the edge so we could get a different angle of them coming over the edge.
Everything's a go. It's time to depart. Matt's clear for takeoff.
3, 2, 1, see ya.
What many might think is crazy is also breathtaking and spectacular. Watch again as Matt basically dives off the cliff. This is from the camera mounted on his helmet.
See ya.
The cliff racing by. His speed reaches 50 miles per hour. 3 seconds in, he throws his chute. From here on, he's a one-man pilot. Hand levers let him control the parachute.
The time really does almost feel like it slows down.
The nylon elevator down the canyon takes about 50 seconds, barely enough time to soak all this splendor in before trying to hit a 30-foot wide landing zone.
So much information that's coming in, and you're processing so much in one very, very short period of time.
This majestic magic carpet ride almost over. All that's left, landing this canopy on a small strip of sand.
Yeah!
A perfect touchdown with Matt back on solid ground.
Good!
All eyes shift back up the cliff. It's Scotty's turn.
Hey, thanks for being here. Hey.
A final farewell, a quick check on Dave.
Hey, Dave.
Then it's time to exit.
Ready? In 3, 2, 1, see ya.
Check it out again. Some 45 stories up, Scotty does a backflip off the cliff. Here's what it looks like from his helmet cam.
It may only be 2 or 3 seconds, but it feels like an eternity. That's pretty much what keeps you coming back every time.
Like a bird with one giant wing, the canopy ride is breathless and calming.
Once you've realized you have a solid canopy above your head, and you do tend to relax a little bit, you do realize that your job's not over. You still got to get down there.
How good are these guys at hitting their mark? Watch.
Nice one!
A high five after a high altitude flight.
Well done.
Our photographer gets in on the excitement, and why not?
So that never gets old?
No, it does not get old. It's so much fun. I'm ready to go do it again.
Only one jump today, but well worth another look. First Matt, soaring, then flying.
So it actually really worked out great today.
Now Scotty, from multiple angles, and on why he does this.
It really is the people that you meet along the way. It's a very small sport. You tend to develop a bond with the people you jump with, and that's probably the number one thing that keeps me coming back in the plane.
For Matt and Scotty, it's yet another amazing adventure, another flawless flight in a lifetime filled with the unbelievable and often unimaginable.
Pretty indescribable, actually. 6 years into it, it's just as much fun as it was when I first started.
Two daredevils who make the extreme look routine.
There's so many different things that we can do that literally you could spend your entire lifetime doing it.
Tomorrow we'll have to wait. What's next? Unknown. But this day was perfect. In the Tonto National Forest, Kevin Kennedy, 12 News.
Now that you've seen it, here's the funny way the crew hooked up for this demanding assignment and how they gained the trust of this tight-knit fraternity of base jumpers.
It was kind of interesting how the story began. I'd been talking with Matt about doing a story on base jumping, and I didn't even know that Dave was talking to the same Matt. So it kind of spawned. Dave was a little farther ahead, I think, in the story. So I kind of politely handed the ball to Dave, and I said, okay, you help us out and get it kind of set up, and it kind of went from there.
Yeah, I had wanted to do a piece on base jumping, and I just started Googling, looking for local base jumpers, and found Matt, and had met with him for coffee to try to tell him the kind of piece I wanted to do, and then found out Kevin was sort of doing the same thing, and we kind of joined forces.
And they're a private, secretive group, these base jumpers. I mean, Matt basically put me through an interview before he would feel comfortable enough with me kind of telling his story, and I think he did the same with you, didn't he?
Yeah, the first emails and phone conversations, he pretty much said, he didn't think he was interested, and I'd say the base jumping community through YouTube and Vimeo, they kind of have their own media world, so I don't know if they always think of mainstream media covering them as something to do. But yeah, after some emails and phone conversations and an in-person meeting, we were able to convince him to do the piece.
We're not even halfway there. When we come back, the big deadline and unforeseen challenges they were up against. Plus, what this reporter would definitely do before even thinking about doing a story like this again. Get a hold of the crew during the show right here on Twitter. Watch the video again or share it with your friends on AZ Central or our iPad magazine.